The Shawshank Redemption, a 1994 powerhouse emotional roller coaster film where Andy Dufresne is framed for a murder that he didn't commit. Maybe? You'll find out during the review. So Andy Dufresne, he's in the courtroom, the opening sequence of the film, and it's doing some flashbacks of when he's sitting in his car with a revolver and he's putting the bullets in, and you can clearly tell something's off. And when he's in the courtroom, you find out that he's being framed for a murder of his wife and his wife's secret lover. But as he's found guilty, as you'll see in Mike's background there, he does not believe it. He cannot believe he's about to go to federal prison. So once he gets there, that's when all of the movie really starts. The prisoners are brought in on the bus, and you can see all the prisoners that are there are all ganged around the bus, around the fences. They're just waiting for these newbies to come in. The fresh fish, I believe they called them. And they are, you can see there's a little clique with Morgan Freeman, Red, in this movie, and they're all taking some bets, but you don't know exactly what they're betting on, but you can see they're taking bets, and Morgan Freeman, Red, he picks Andy Dufresne. He doesn't know who he is yet, but he's like, that's going to be the guy. It's going to be him. And then turns out it's not him. That's how the movie begins, and that's when all of the parts of Andy finding out that the person who did break, as you find out they were betting on who would break first of the new prisoners. They're sitting around the lunch table. They're all shooting crap as prisoners do. That's their only time, I would imagine, that they can have any fun. And they find out Andy overhears the prisoners saying the guy who did break, who is the overweight guy, he actually was killed from the beating he took from the guards for making too much noise at nighttime. So he says, well, what was his name? And the other prisoners there, they say, well, what does it matter what his name was? He's dead. And it shows the humanity of our main character, Andy, and that's when he starts getting a little closer to Red. Red takes a little bit of a liking to him. They strike up conversation a lot. And yeah, it's a beautiful friendship that begins. And it's a great story that you find out a lot about humanity and hope and remorse and regrets. What did you think?
Yeah, so the relationship that Andy and Red build throughout this film really grabs you in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I felt like it was a very unexpected friendship, you know, in these prisons. I wouldn't know about prison life, but from prison movies, you know, everybody's kind of closed off, hard to get to in their own separate cliques or whatever. So I wouldn't have initially thought that they'd become such good friends. And their whole friendship throughout this film, it was emotional. It was really heavy. You know, I love the relationship between Red and Andy.
Absolutely. It's extremely heavy. And, you know, let's get into what worked of this film. A big part is the friendship. The friendship
Certainly
was amazing. And Andy is so selfless. He wants to make sure that everyone else around him doesn't give up. Like, even before he knows it, he's giving off that stoic nature where he's not letting the audacity of this prison warden and his guards that commit heinous crimes against them get to him. He doesn't get down. And the other guys start taking notice, and they start liking Andy too because of that. One of the best things of what worked for me was just he doesn't even drink. And he goes through this incredible sequence where he's like, hey, do you trust your wife, to the main prison guard? And he's like, what'd you say? You think you're funny? And you know, he's holding him off the building. He's literally holding him off the building. He's like, no, I can get you a tax-free gift to your wife. I can help you out.
And he's calm as ever, you know?
Doesn't even, exactly.
He uses his words,
can break
right?
this guy.
Yeah.
And he ends up getting beers for the guys on top of the roof. And what a beautiful scene. And they're like, okay, well, Andy, you have a beer. He's like, I don't even drink.
Yeah.
He just wanted to have everyone remember what it's like to be alive and like to have a normalcy to their life outside of the prison drab. It's not a beautiful place, and he's trying to bring some beautiful moments to them.
Yeah, that was a powerful scene.
Absolutely.
And a bunch of messages, like you said. You know, he's garnering some favor with the guards, specifically the captain, building some friendships with his fellow prisoners also.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of messages in there.
Lots, man. And it all revolves around Andy. And Red, you know, Red starts realizing that maybe he's a little more negative than he should be. Now, he does fall back into his negative state of being when Andy is going through all of the trials and tribulations that he's going through to help everyone else out by trying to keep the hopes up. He's like, man, you got to get your head at it. Those things aren't going to happen. When he's talking to him about going to the Pacific Ocean, going to Mexico, building a boat, and he's like, you're not going to do any of that. And he's like, well, what's life without hope? Fear can hold you prisoner, hope can set you free. It's literally my background. It's extremely powerful. Yeah, what worked for me in this film is just everything is so he does not let himself get taken down through all of the horrible things that happen in this film, like the sisters chasing him down all the time, doing unspeakable things to him, the kid that he takes in, and what another beautiful thing, he gets all these people with the library he gets made through all the letters he sends.
Yeah.
You know, he takes the kid and he starts getting all these people their high school diplomas. It's just such a good, positive thing for all these people who have never experienced something like that since they got to prison.
Yeah, and it's hard to see this guy committing, the crime that he went to prison for, because throughout the film, he's just such a good guy. He had a selfless mind. He just wanted to help people.
Yeah, he literally had no thought of reward or favor back for him. There's so many what works in this movie. The whole movie works. It's just good. It's a great story.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. That's what worked for me. It was the storytelling, all the characters, their relationships. It was all deep. There was several different messages or ways to interpret pretty much every interaction there, and that's what kept me watching.
Yeah, I mean, it's like everyone in their lives, us included, everyone that watches this video, everyone, needs a friend. And their friendship is so powerful because it's these two guys that one's an innocent man and the other did commit crimes, but yet they still find a way to completely get rid of who they once were, and they're who they are right now. Yeah, I think my standout moment of this film is that conversation that Red and Andy have where he's talking about where he wants to go when he gets out of there, and Morgan Freeman, Red, he's like, those things aren't going to happen. Why are you thinking like this? Like, no one's getting out of here. And then, he just refuses to let that go. That standout moment comes all the way back to when they meet up on that beach and he's fixing that boat. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, literally, I'm emotional just thinking about that scene right now. It's so powerful. And that's my standout favorite moment of this film for sure.
The thing that stood out probably the most was the escape sequence. That was
so cool.
Again, it was powerful. I know I'm using that word a lot here for this movie, but the whole escape sequence was powerful. There was some tense moments in there with the pipe and the lightning.
The thunder cracking as he hits with the rock. Oh, it's so epic. Yeah, absolutely.
It was good. And then once he finally got out, I breathed a sigh of relief.
Yes.
Just like everybody else. So that was my standout moment when he did escape.
All right, so let's get real quick what didn't work. So for me, I have nothing. There is no part of this film that I thought didn't work. I thought it was some pretty great storytelling, perfect storytelling almost.
Yeah.
No drawbacks for me.
Okay, so I have one, and it's minor, but when that same conversation that we mentioned after Andy had gotten out of the hole, he had asked Red to make him a promise that if Red ever got out, to find this secluded spot in a farm under a tree. And he described it, a farm with an oak tree with a stone.
The stone wall leads up to it, and the volcanic rock that doesn't belong there. He said, dig under there. Yeah.
Dig under there, right? So after Red gets paroled and he tries working for what seems like one day, he gets on a bus. He's going to go try and find this field. And he just finds it, which, again, it's minor, but it just seems like it would be a lot more difficult to find this one tree in a field. But it didn't take away from the movie. I was still glued to the screen at this point to see what happens.
Yeah.
And then they meet up, and I forgot all about it until now.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, I mean, there was, this isn't a funny movie, but, I like to break out the funniest moments to me, and I don't really I just like how Andy is. Like, a funny moment to me was when he locks the guard up in the bathroom and he plays the music. That's actually a beautiful scene, but it was funny to me. He was willing to risk it all to just let these guys hear some music that they had probably heard however long they've been there. Probably haven't heard a lick of music. I laughed, but also I was like, wow, this is like you're saying, it's powerful. What other word is there? It was radiant. It was impressive. It was huge.
Yeah, he was trying to bring humanity back to himself and the prisoners for a few moments, right? A few seconds.
You know, I don't want to give these out like candy. It was something I debated on because one of my biggest things is a rewatchability for a film to give a score the highest score possible. But I'm going to give this movie a 5. Gonna give it a 5.
Okay.
It's a perfect film. It's very powerful and emotional, and you know it reminds yourself of humanity, and it makes you want to talk and be hopeful in your daily life. It's so powerful you have to give it a 5. What else could you do?
I'm not surprised that you gave this a 5 because of how good this movie is. I'm also going to give it a 5. It is an excellent movie in every one of the categories that I look at. It has some rewatchability. It is a drama. It's maybe not as exciting as maybe an action movie that you can rewatch over and over again, but this is definitely a great story and it doesn't get old. And for that, I'll give it a 5. Great movie. I recommend you see it if you haven't. And if you have, it's worth a rewatch.
I mean, if you haven't seen this film, go watch it immediately. It's a great film. If you have seen it, like I tell you every time, go watch it again. Yeah. We appreciate you guys watching so much. Stay tuned for our next one. We're working on some films that are left in the comments, and we really appreciate you guys. See you next time. Thank you for watching, everyone. We hope you enjoyed our review of this movie. Let us know in the comments, what did you think of the movie? Drop your score on our 1 to 5 scale and tell us if you agree or disagree with our take. Also, if you have a movie suggestion, go ahead and put it in the comments. We read every comment. We love getting the community's ideas. If you're new here, please subscribe. It helps us out a lot. Turn on the notifications, hit the bell, and don't miss our next No BS short review. Thanks again for hanging out with the S2S Film Bros, and we'll see you next time.